Okay, for this part I'm going to do a voiceover because the Oneleaf microphone sounds like a 1970s drive-through. It's terrible. This is at 20 yards right here, that fence post, and this is at the lowest setting. I got the 16mm version of the Oneleaf, which begins at 4 power, and my optic is Element Helix 6 to 24. So this is at 6 power. That little stump there is about the size of a chipmunk's head. That's about 25 yards. So you can see target acquisition at closer ranges is super hard, and it even becomes harder at night. This pole here is at 75 yards, so pretty good clarity, still at 6 on the Helix and the lowest power on the Oneleaf. Let's take a look out to 120 yards, which is that post. So this is still lowest power. I'll zoom in to 12 power on the Helix here. Take another look at that. So again, that's 120 yards. You could shoot a squirrel from that distance, no problem, using this setup. And then I'll bobble it around here and we'll zoom into 24 times, and I'll take a look at my steel target out at 150 yards. Now you'll notice it gets a little bit grainy here, so for daylight mode that might be the limit, but if you're doing close range airgun shooting, I would probably suggest the 12mm version for sure. Okay, just for grins, let's take a look at 10 yards. So with the 16mm version, I'm starting off on 4 power, and the lowest on my Helix is 6, so it's pretty useless. That little opening in the snow is maybe like 3 inches long, maybe less, maybe in like 2 inches, and it is going to be real hard to pick out and find a target at that range using the 16mm. So I did manage to shoot 2 squirrels while I was filming this. The first one is going to be at 50 yards, and the second one is at 20, and I will shut up and let you hear the Oneleaf camera mic system.
Nailed him. 20 yards. Smashed him.
Okay, so back to voiceover mode. This is the squirrel I shot. I threw him at 20 yards, 22 yards or so, and popped on the IR there. It was pretty hard to get him in focus at 20 yards, so definitely not the greatest at close range. And then there's that 75-yard post. So I'm playing with zooming the IR out. It has a zoomable IR for near and far. You can adjust it by pulling it out. And then what's also critical is getting your parallax adjusted. So if you don't have your parallax set correct, which believe me is hard to do in the dark, you will have trouble focusing on whatever you're looking at. So I'm going to zoom in here and try to find the 120-yard pole. So that's still the 75 one right there. Pretty good clarity. You also get washout. Like if there's grass and stuff sticking up and that IR is trying to shine through it, you'll get washout. Okay, so here's the 120-yard. Playing with the IR settings a little bit here, it looks like. Pretty good clarity, totally usable at 120 yards. All good, but I couldn't get rid of that scope shadow to the right. Not sure if it's by design, because if you notice your crosshairs on the screen are off to the left a bit. So I'll back out to 20 yards, we'll look at that squirrel and get him in better focus, and I'll go back to the Oneleaf mic.
And we'll go and look at that 20-yard target. Need to get him in better focus. Wow, even after he's dead, his eyes still illuminate. That's cool. So yeah, this thing actually is pretty badass. I'm impressed with it.